Hi everyone. I really enjoyed Nick's session. The interesting thing is sometimes you pick up your code, the code you've written for like say 2, 3 months ago, and you're trying to figure out what is happening. Like you don't even know what's going on around the code. So it's very important. We know how to organize our code and make it more readable. All right, today I'll be talking about bridging the talent gap between Python communities and the industry. And I think this is really, really important because I think developers need money. We all need money, right? We all need to get gigs, we all need to get jobs. And after all your coding and every effort you put into coding, it's also important that you get the job, you get the gig, and all that. So, and that's why I'm here today to talk about bridging the gap, the talent gap between Python communities and the industry. So, by introduction, my name is Kelvin Oyanna. I'm a data scientist. And also business intelligence person. I have core interest in data science and machine learning and everything around the AI space. I currently head the data analytics for OneSphere Solutions. Okay. So I'm passionate about building tech communities. I currently serve as the lead for Python Nigeria, the Python Nigeria community. Then also, I'm very involved as a co-organizer for PyData Lagos, a community of data scientists in Lagos, Nigeria. Okay. I'm a big fan of plantain. I love that. The interesting thing, it comes in different forms and you just pick the form you like at any point in time. So I'm a big fan of that. We have another fan of plantain here. Fantastic. So we have a bigger house. So, and that's my Twitter handle. You can tweet at me. So, I'm here to talk about talk about how we can bridge that gap between the developers community and the industry. And while I'm here to network with you to talk about that, I also have a second mission, and a quick one. You might be wondering, like, what that mission is about. Like, what is the second mission do you have coming to PyCon Africa? And I think it's interesting I talk about it. The Jollof War. So, over time, a whole lot have been going on over years. There's been this thing about between my country, Nigeria, and Ghana, who make the best jollof rice. And for those who don't know, jollof is actually a delicacy, rice delicacy in this side. And it's been a whole lot of front and back who make the best jollof between my country and Ghana. I'm not here to tell you that, but then, so over the years, and when Mark Zuckerberg came into Nigeria in 2016, he made mention of that. He tasted both jollof and he had some interesting things to say about both. But then when Richard Kirst, a top CNN journalist, came to Nigeria, he said something like this. He said, jollof rice, he said the delicious Ghana or Nigeria, which is the best. And a lot of conversations, the whole world, the whole jollof war started again. Everybody tried to defend his or her jollof. And we have things like this. And somebody say, hey, don't fall for that jollof, it's hype. Ghana jollof is the truth, and the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. We agree with that? Okay? But then that's not all. Then recently, Beyoncé featured a few African artists, and she had only one Ghanaian. And this person said, it's simply because we have the best jollof. So six Nigerians featured and only one Ghanaian. I don't know about the whole world keep going and going front and back. Nobody seems to be winning. But then, and my mission, second mission, being here, is to come and have a taste of that jollof, because I believe the taste of the pudding is in the eating, right? Something like that. So I need to be a judge myself. I can't sit back and see on Twitter and somebody say Ghana jollof is the best or something. So I want to have a taste of both worlds now so I can make a good judgment. So Ghana, it's your time to show to me what it means like to eat the Ghana jollof. I'm looking forward to that. So the focus of my talk, that's on a quick one. So I want to examine the current disparity between the developers community and the industry. Both worlds are not really in tune, they are not communicating the same language. The industry is on its own, developers community. I really look forward that we have hiring managers and HR persons in this conference. And I doubt if we have most of them here. But I think this is the conversation that has always been where we have the people who we are intending to build solutions for, the business guys, the guys that would hire you to do stuff for them. We don't have them in our midst. We just go ahead and talk about our code, talk about how we can implement our code. And these guys are also on the other side. They're trying to figure out things for themselves. So I'll talk about how to identify the missing link between both words, because there's a missing link. Then I'll address the challenges and concerns of the companies of the industry when they are seeking tech talents and dealing with tech communities. I've been very active with tech communities. I've had the opportunity of engaging companies and to support community initiatives or to get talents from my community. I'll be sharing a few of that experience with you guys today. Okay, then I'll talk about building a talent pipeline. This is really, really important because aside we just having communities, we have our meetups, we have our boot camps, we have our conferences. I think it becomes imperative for us to start thinking how to become the incubating ground for talents and churn out the same to the industry. So the industry look up to us for talent. So we basically serve as the incubation ground to outsource talents to the industry. So then I will share the Python Nigeria experience. Then I address a few things about the inter-community synergy. And I'm aware a few of community leaders are also here. It's going to be something you'll be much interested in. So where are we? The disparities between the developers community and the industry. Where are we? Okay. I'll quickly share a short story about my job hunting experience. In 2017, I was looking out for a job position. A friend sent me a link and I got that link. I was so much interested. It was a fintech company in my country, so they have very interesting stuff and they were working on a financial inclusion app. So like they built a credit scoring algorithm to predict if you are eligible to pay back a loan. As a data scientist or as somebody who is just getting into the data science bit, I find it very interesting. I put out for that job. And good for me, afterwards, like 2 days afterwards, I got a call from them. We had a first interview on phone. Asked me about my background. I told them my background in computer science, and we talked about my experience as a data scientist, what I intend to do, and we discussed all that. Then he talked about my knowledge about the fintech space and how do I think data science would be applicable in the fintech space. So we did all that. So I had that first interview. Then I got an email. Congratulations, you made it to the second round of the interview. You did wonderfully well. We like what we see and we want to continue with you. Then we had, the next one was a project. They sent in a bunch of data to me. I looked into those data. I'm supposed to clean up that data. Basically, I did exploratory data analysis on on that bunch of data. So come up with some insight I find in that data. So I did that, spent like 3 days working on that project, and I sent it back to them. So few days afterwards, I got another email. We're interested in what you're doing. We like what you've done. We quite find it interesting. We want to take you to the next round of interview. So I had that, and a Skype call. 2 guys reached out, and we did that interview on Skype. They talked about my experience. They talked about how I went about doing that, and it was really, really interesting talking to them. That's the 3rd interview. Then the final interview was me coming to their office. So I had to go down to the office, and I met them. So we had this interview. But the unfortunate thing, after 4 stages of interview, I never got picked. Why? These guys went into a boot camp. There was a boot camp that came up, so they went into a boot camp. They believed there were a bunch of data scientists in the boot camp. So after the boot camp, they had a project, they threw it up, and they checked out the first 5 persons at the top of the leaderboard. For those who are conversant with Kaggle competition, so top of the leaderboard. So they picked the first 5 persons on the leaderboard. Now my concern is that just the perfect way to pick your data scientist or somebody to work with you? And after all that interview process, after all the first, the second, the third, and the 4th interview process, I'm here because I am not top on the leaderboard, I'm out. So it's a challenging experience. And that's why I'm here today talking about how do we really bridge this gap. That's case 1. Then secondly, this case 2. You might all find something like this. If it's not perfectly something like this, maybe something related to what you've seen in some job descriptions. So many crazy stuff, okay? And you basically, somebody trying to look for somebody who is a jack of all trades, you know. You put up something looking for a Python developer, and basically he wants you to know other languages. He wants you to be a UI UX person. He wants you to have knowledge in DevOps. He also wants you to be somebody who could do a whole lot when it comes to testing and all that. So basically, we have the industry, people who are over there, who sit back and go to some blog, go to some website and copy job descriptions because they think it's cool, then dump it there, then they ask developers to apply for it. And then, when these guys put up this job description, is how they feel. They feel cool, they feel like we've done that, and like, let's just get the applications coming in, let's have these talents coming in because we already have a job description there. But unfortunately, on the other side of the divide, the developers, that's what we see. I see that, I grab some popcorn, and I'm like, what's this about? I'm not interested, okay? So I just sit back and make do with my popcorn, and I'm not interested. If you want a UI UX person, you go get one. You want a DevOps person, go get one. So why make me a jack of everything with so much expectation from me, which I don't even know how much you're going to pay me that will commensurate with so much you are demanding from me. I grab my popcorn, I watch my TV, I keep up coding. Okay? So what's the result of both of this? I gave you 2 scenarios. My job hunting experience and a second case study about what the HR persons, what they really think a Python developer should be. They come up with all that ridiculous job description, 10 years experience. You know, somehow you wonder, like, the same guy who is putting up that is not even having 3 years experience where he is, but he wants somebody who is 10 years experience as a Python developer. Okay, then what is the result of both of these things? So the result is this. So we have candidates who are qualified for a role who are evaluated wrongly. because of unrealistic expectation from the industry, expectation from the HR persons, because the fact is they don't really know what is going on, and you see developers that spend time developing expertise, picking up different courses on Udemy, on Udacity, and keep studying, doing a lot of stuff, updating their portfolio, and these guys are just there to use a different methodology or different paradigm to judge you. And I think that is not really cool. And I think it's because of the disparity between both worlds that we're having something like this. Years after, the role remain unfilled. And so we see job posting keep coming over and over again because they didn't get that perfect rocket person that would, or the rock star that would do all that job for them. And I think it's a serious thing. So new developers, they are not given a chance to develop their expertise. So we have people, young persons who have that expertise, they've learned some good stuff that should be integrated in a team so they pick up more experience along the line. These guys are not given opportunity to do anything because they are being judged with some method, with some approach that doesn't really support both worlds. So then more potential talents are left unemployed. So I get this over and over. In the Python Nigeria community, a good number of persons reach out to me. I need internship. Okay? But then when you say you refer them, you just throw them out and feel like you are not a rock star. The rock star will need it. But then it's hard building those skills. And you just need to give somebody a leverage, the opportunity to be integrated in a team to learn a few stuff. And sometimes in less than a few months, some of these persons can easily pick up these skills and become very good and comfortable at it. And I think we should do something. So who is to blame? The hiring managers, the HR persons. Are we supposed to blame them for this? They need talents. Then we have talents. So Python communities have talents, and we have the HR, we have the industry guys. They needed this talent, and now both worlds are not speaking the same language. And the problem I just highlighted. So who is to blame? But the truth is, there's nobody to blame, because I am into business to make profits. Okay. So talent is very important to me, but then if I don't know how best to get experience or get those talents, it becomes a challenge. I need talent, but then I don't know how best to go about getting talent. Trust me, one of the most difficult things we have today is hiring a tech talent, okay? Especially a good one, okay? And the few ones who are extremely good, trust me, you might have to pay everything from your earnings to get them. So what's the missing link here? Now, the missing link is basically the lack of synergy between the developers communities and the industries. So we have Python communities here, and I think we should start rethinking how do we engage the industry such that we are on the same page when it comes to hiring talents. And this is the reason why I'm giving this talk, so we could have a way of, synergizing with the industry and see how we can develop talent. And developers communities, and the good thing is that they are supposed to be the bridge to foster the synergy. Okay, so the developers community they have those talents. We have the people who are just coming in, and we are supposed to be that building, bridge that gap. I'll quickly take you to a few stats, and maybe we understand what is going on. So a company called Conferry, a leading talent management firm based in the US, predicted that there will be a global shortage of as much as 85 million tech talents by 2030. And that's approximately the size of the population of Germany. So we have so much job opportunities that are going to be available than can be filled. And these are some of the things that we should be thinking about. How do we even multiply the current talents we have within the community? How do we bring in more persons? Which is really, really important to us. Now, the community is to the rescue. So while the demand for tech talents, by companies increases exponentially by the day, communities on the other hand gradually become the incubation ground for developing tech talents. And I'm very sure for most of the communities represented here, you have people who are interested, you have people who come for your meetups, and these persons are interested in learning some of these technologies. Okay, so it's a proof of concept, the fact that developers community can be that building ground for talent for the industry. Okay, I'll quickly take a quote from Emeka Afikpo, is the head of developers program at Facebook. He wrote a very interesting article. I don't know if anyone here have read that. It's called Boiling the Ocean. Now, Boiling the Ocean is talking about how do you get talent, how do companies get talent when there are no talent? Okay, so every company don't want to go pick up somebody and brush the person up, and at the end of the day, you lose that talent. Nobody want to invest in training a talent, and at the end of the day, some other company come poach that talent from you. We are all, being reserved. Nobody want to go about developing talent. Nobody want to spend so much money in that, and at the end of the day, they don't know. So then Emeka Afikpo said something very interesting in his article called Boiling the Ocean. You could Google that. He said, reach out to developers in the community before they come to ask for a job. And I think this is very, very important, because hiring the traditional way might be very difficult for some companies. So you put out a job out there and you see massive number of persons applied for it. You spend 2-3 months trying to figure out the best person to fit in. And at the end of the day, you don't even get that talent to fit in. Now, what if you go to the communities that these people are, and you could take some time to interact and get your talent within that community, instead of actually throwing a job opening out there for everybody to come and burn. And this is what he said. He said, reach out to developers communities. So the opportunities. Now, communities have access to a large pool of potential talents required by companies. He said, yes, this is very true, because we have access to all the talents. We have access to people, both entry level, both intermediate level, both expert level, and a good number of us are here today. Okay, so the developers community actually have access to a pool of talent. Now, the knowledge sharing within communities foster rapid development of talent. For example, we just came in for PyCon Africa, and I've met a few friends. We've shared experiences. We've looked at what you do. I've looked at, so there's a whole lot of brainstorming and sharing of knowledge, which is not really present in the industry, because it's not really a community thing. A developer can only work with somebody who heads AIM, and that's just within that space. But in the developers community, we have people who network. You could interact, you could bring up your code, you could talk about what you do, and somebody can reason and see how you can get this working. So communities can afford to invest time and resource to train talents, and not even having to fear whether, to lose such talent. So one of the major problems these companies are, and I have opportunity to be able to interact with these companies, is that they don't want to spend so much money in training talent, and at the end of the day, they lose such talent. Okay, so this is one of the fear. But on the flip side, developers community can afford to spend money and time to train talents, and they are not really afraid of if they will lose such talents. Okay? And I think that is something we must look into. So what are the challenges for the industry, in my experience? Now, the challenges for the industry is lack of visibility and engagement. So over time, we've had developers community try to do stuff on their own. They try to own their own game. They have their own developers party. They have their own things, and they just walk around that. And at the end of the day, they are not connected to the industry. Okay, so most developers don't go to regular business meetings and all that, business conferences where they tend to interact with the industry. So the lack of talent growth measurement. So companies feel like, look, you can't tell me how well your talents are. You can't measure, you're not measuring how well your talents are doing. So you don't trust me, that I can't trust the talent you're bringing for me. So this is a challenge. So a lack of robust, well-structured training program to develop talents. As it stands, Meetup is not enough. Anyone agree with that? Meetup is not enough. We need boot camps. We need like 5 weeks. We need 6-week boot camps. We need 10 weeks boot camp to get more talents integrated. And this is what the industry is looking out for. They want to be sure that there are programs beyond just 4 or 5 hours meetup. Okay? So the lack of vetting or proof of talent's ability to deliver on the job. So as developers communities, we are not really vetting talent. We can't really say this is how well our talents can perform. So we should look for a way of how we can start vetting our talents that will give the confidence to the industry that when they bring a talent in, it will deliver on the job. Okay? So bridging that gap. Now on bridging that gap, I have, using the Git paradigm, I came up with a way to build a talent pipeline. So building that talent pipeline, I have the stage, the commit, measure, and you push. So basically, now staging is the process of engaging organizations and talent to create pipelines for them. Then commit. So commit entails developing the robust programs as well as structured training that would help develop the talents. Then measure. So we need to start measuring how well our talents are performing before we deploy them to the industry. So then we push. So when we push, it entails placing those talents in the industry. So just to do that, Python Nigeria story I just want to share with us. And in terms of visibility, we engage in a few programs, non-developers training programs. So this is just an example of that. This Digital Rights and Inclusion Forum, a very big conference which we engaged in. Now the essence of these things is to make our community to be visible to the industry. So I went to somebody and he said, I tell him I'm from Python Nigeria. He said, what do you mean? I don't even know if there is a community existing like that. And these are some of the things we must look into. So this is RacePack conference as part of efforts to showcase visibility. This is a non-developers conference. So we put us out there. So when we need partnership, when we need to engage some of these companies, they tend to listen to us. Then engagement. So we had a 6-week boot camp in partnership with a company called Paradigm Initiative in Lagos, Nigeria. These are some of the things I'm talking about and how we can really do most of these things. Now, to go far, we must learn to work together. And this is talking about inter-community synergy, because we can't afford to be doing things in silos. Communities must come together. We must form that structure. We must define new paradigms that will shape what the industry wants and tell them how to better hire talent. What do they need to factor in their job description? And this might not just be one community. Communities must network to get this done. Okay? In conclusion, as communities and developers, we must take up that challenge of making both knowledge and opportunities available to all. So while we are trying to make persons to develop that talent and that knowledge, we must also create the opportunity for them in the industry by following the pipeline, the talent pipeline thing. So we engage the industry, we create a robust program to train them, then we accurately vet those, talent that are the best fit, then we push to the industry. And trust me, it could be a very strong business model to help bring in revenue to communities. So we must also make conscious efforts to engage, collaborate with industry stakeholders for collective growth. Okay? So finally, we must seek innovative ways of doing more to impact the larger community, whichever way we are, because we are a microcosm of a larger community. So this initiative, engaging that industry and trying to see how we can help more developers, not just to develop expertise, but to also get the job out there. So it's very important. So thank you very much. My name is Kelvin. Questions?